Today I thought I'd talk about a horror movie, a horror film, a horror show, and that is The Horror Show from 1989, as it was known in the United States. Some people a little unfairly, although only a little unfairly, refer to it as The Shit Show. But elsewhere it was known as House 3, and it was known as House 3 here in Australia and in most of the developed and undeveloped world. So this one is infamously directed by Alan Smithee, and that'll give you an idea as to the extent of the problems with the movie. Alan Smithee, as many of you may be aware, is one of the most prolific directors in Hollywood. And the reason for that is that Alan Smithee is actually a pseudonym that directors use when they're very unsatisfied with the finished product. They don't want to be associated with the finished product, and they basically just want to get along with their lives. So the Alan Smithee in this case was, his name eludes me right now. I'll pop it in the video later. But I believe he was highly dissatisfied with how this movie turned out, and the tone and everything else, and the cuts. And the ironic thing about that is the director in question did go on, I believe, to direct Jason X. So this is a man with, well, I wouldn't say he's exactly a perfectionist, or at least he wasn't a perfectionist by the time he got to Jason X. So it does say something about the horror show, also known as House 3, that even as a young director, he really didn't want to attach his name to the project. So this one was originally, was produced by Sean S. Cunningham, of course, who produced the rest of the House series. And it does seem like it was never intended to be part of the House series. It does strike me as more of a Nightmare on Elm Street ripoff, and this one is pretty much indistinguishable, I guess, from the movie Shocker that Wes Craven directed a little bit earlier than this one, I believe. And if you haven't seen either of them in a lot of years, I'd challenge you to really tell them apart with characters and plot points and so on and so forth. They're very similar movies. So clearly this one was inspired more by Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street and Horace Pinker from Wes Craven's Shocker. But the plot as it stands, I watched it, gave it a fresh watch the other night, just to refresh my memory, and just so I didn't start talking about Wes Craven's Shocker by mistake. So it's about I guess a by-the-numbers, by-the-rules cop, played by Lance Henriksen. I believe his name is Detective McCarthy, and Detective McCarthy is the epitome of the old cinema trope of the hard-nosed, by-the-book, completely serious, no sense of humour detective who always gets his man. And he's gotten his man in the case of, I believe he's called Meat Cleaver Max Jenke, who's played by Brion James, who most of you will remember from Blade Runner, of course, and also Flesh and Blood, just to mention a couple of roles that he was far more memorable in than this one. So he's having the nightmares, of course, about Max Jenke and their final encounter when he arrested him in this boiler room, of course, because God forbid this movie had let us watch for a couple of minutes without reminding us of Freddy Krueger. So there's a particularly violent scene that depicts the arrest. It is a dream sequence, but apparently it's based on the actual events of the arrest of Meat Cleaver Max Jenke by Detective McCarthy. So full of severed limbs and severed heads and boiling heads and deep fried heads in seed oil and so on and so forth. So that's pretty much our introduction. And of course, Lance Henriksen's been having nightmares. He lives in quiet suburban America, the kind of quiet suburban America that is sadly seems to be long gone in 2026. The life that Lance Henriksen's leading as a humble, lowly paid detective is basically the life of multi-millionaires in America now, where you've got the single income family and the wife and kids and the big palatial house. So unfortunately, I don't know if many detectives in 2026 live the life of Detective McCarthy. It's more likely to be the life lived by the type of person that have produced, the film producer that have produced House 3, aka The Horror Show. But it is what it is. It is a snapshot back at a more prosperous time, of course, like all cinema from back then. So he's having nightmares. It's causing troubles at home. He's alienated himself from his kids and his wife, and his marriage is on the skids, and insert every other detective cliche from your average thriller or police procedural or what have you. So he wants to witness Max Jenke's execution by electric chair. He thinks it'll be a cathartic experience. Either that, or he'll have to go in for some shock treatment himself to get over the trauma, the PTSD of the murders of Max Meat Cleaver Jenke, and also the arrest of Max Meat Cleaver Jenke. And I'm sure none of you will be surprised by what happens. Very similar in plot structure after this to Wes Craven's Shocker, because much like Horace Pinker, Max Jenke has been in a kind of electrical and spiritual or occult kind of training, seemingly with the sole purpose of coming back and haunting and terrifying and violently attacking Lance Henriksen and his family. So that's the crux of The Horror Show, aka House 3. It was called The Horror Show in the United States because stateside they felt that it was nothing, they wisely felt like it was nothing like a house movie. It didn't have the black humor, didn't have the themes of a house movie where you have basically someone moving into a house that has its own dark and mysterious history. Didn't really fit the mold of a house movie. Nothing like a house movie. It's more a case, which happened a lot in Italy, of them taking an existing movie that didn't quite fit their expectations and slapping a title on it. The Italians did that, of course, with zombie movies and demons movies and so on and so forth. So it was a troubled movie from the start, indeed as troubled as our lead character, Detective McCarthy, played by Lance Henriksen, who, Lance Henriksen, of course, best remembered from Aliens. He'll forever be known as Bishop, and also remembered from Millennium as well. The series from X-Files creator Chris Carter, and a bunch of other genre films, Terminator, for example, as well. So, yeah, he has a rich and wide filmography and a lot of television credits as well. He was also in Pumpkinhead, of course, for genre fans. Another movie that's better than House 3, aka The Horror Show. And we've also got his family. The wife is suitably showing a lack of understanding about his traumatic experiences with Meat Cleaver Max Jenke. I mean, he saw his partner basically go from being an armed cop to a literally unarmed victim of Meat Cleaver Max Jenke, and he saw all these victims of Max Jenke's. He was psychologically messed with by Max Jenke before, during, and after the arrest, and he's having all these nightmares about Max Jenke. And then you've got his kids. His kids are probably his kids would probably say that Detective McCarthy's been quite distant with them. But to be honest, his kids really do seem like little bits of brats or assholes. The daughter's basically self-absorbed. The son is a bit of a weirdo. He keeps scamming companies into sending him free stuff. So he's a criminal in his own right that probably should be in a juvenile detention centre. He's quite annoying. He's unbelievably annoying, in fact, despite the fact that the screenwriter of this movie has tried to make him an avatar for all of us 13-year-olds, I guess, at the time that would have been watching House 3, aka The Horror Show. He was very much an avatar for us. He's into metal, heavy metal and mischief, and he's an angry loner and that sort of thing. So basically he is a avatar for the average 13-year-old horror fan. But the failing in that, I guess, is the way that he's portrayed by the child actor in this one. He just comes across as annoying, and the whole movie I'm hoping that that Nestle or one of the other various companies that he's scammed will press charges to the full extent of the law. I normally like a good scam as much as the next guy, but this kid's so annoying that you really are hoping for him to get his comeuppance in House 3, aka The Horror Show. So I've reviewed the previous House movies already on the channel. I've been revisiting this series. I've been revisiting this series so that you won't have to, I guess. And the first couple of movies are fun in their own right. This one really is the sort of movie that you only want to check out if you are a completist, if you are a House completist, or a Nightmare on Elm Street completist, or a Wes Craven completist. This one's worth checking out in the same way that Vincent Dawn, aka Bruno Mattei's Night of the Zombies, is well worth checking out if you're a Dawn of the Dead completist or a George A. Romero completist. Same sort of thing. If you are a big fan of Wes Craven, I guess, or A Nightmare on Elm Street, and you have made it your life's goal to check out as many of the Freddy Krueger knockoffs, Freddy Krueger clones as you possibly can, movies like this one, and Bad Dreams, and Wes Craven's own Shocker, then it probably is worthwhile as a bit of a curiosity. It's certainly not the greatest of the House sequels by any stretch. I've never seen House 4, but I've got that on the B-movie bucket list to check out at some stage. Whether I review it or not will be a matter of how interesting it is to talk about. I think the key to a good YouTube movie review isn't so much how good or bad the movie is. It's more about points of interest that occur throughout the movie and unusual factoids and things like that. So, yeah, House 3, it was known as House 3 here in Australia. It was known as The Horror Show in the United States. It was a matter of much confusion for me as a kid because I read about this movie called The Horror Show in Fangoria back in the day. Fangoria for us, for we Gen Xers, that was our horror internet. That was our bloody disgusting or shock until you drop, or insert horror news website here. That was the way that we got all of our news on up-and-coming horror movies and what our favourite directors, favourite special effects artists, and so on and so forth were up to. So to cut a long story short, for months and months I'd read about this movie called The Horror Show that was in production, then didn't really hear anything about it. All of a sudden, something called House 3 appeared on the shelves, and I assumed that it was a carefully thought out sequel to House 1 and House 2. And then, much to my surprise, I got a sense of deja vu while watching it, and I realised that it was this movie that I'd read about in Fangoria for so long called The Horror Show. And I didn't really know quite what to think. It didn't really make an impact on me, or that much of an impact on me as a kid. I was struck by how the human brain works while watching it, because I assumed that I'd erased all memory of House 3, aside from the basics from my memory. But I did remember the Nestle Quick scam from the Sun, and also his protests about interrupting someone when they're blasting Metallica. So I may not be able to remember my 8th birthday or anything about it, but you'll be happy to know that the human brain works in such a nonsensical way that I did remember those two aspects and much more from House 3. So that was both interesting and depressing in terms of trying to remember my 8th birthday, but it is what it is. So that's about all I have on House 3. It's certainly not one of the higher points in the House series. It is an inferior movie to the first two. I don't know about the fourth one. I'm yet to experience that particular entry into the House extended universe, I guess you'd say. Certainly not one of the higher points for Lance Henriksen. It's no Aliens or Pumpkinhead. Certainly no Millennium, although it does have a few share a few similarities with Millennium, I guess you'd say. You've got the cop and you've got the supernatural elements. Not one of the higher points in Brion James' career. Certainly he's going to be remembered far more for movies like Blade Runner and from Ridley Scott, and also Paul Verhoeven's Flesh and Blood, than he's ever going to be remembered for something like House 3. And certainly the rest of the actors in this movie have been forgotten, scattered to the sands of time, I guess you'd say. But nevertheless, as I said, if you are a Nightmare on Elm Street completist, or a Wes Craven completist, this one is a bit of a curiosity if you're interested in movies that were inspired by Freddy and by Wes Craven. But that's about all I have on House 3, aka the horror show for all you Americans watching there. And if you have any memories about House 3, any factoids, anything I might have missed, any interesting trivia, by all means let us know in the comments. Any memories about how you discovered House 3 or your thoughts on House 3, aka the horror show, by all means let us know. Also, don't forget to give this video either a thumbs up or a thumbs down. All criticism is appreciated and taken on board. And if you're enjoying these videos, if you enjoyed this video, by all means do a brother a favour and like, share and subscribe. And otherwise, I'm off to enjoy the rest of my Saturday morning. I hope you're enjoying your day wherever you may be. And I hope you, as always, take it very easy. And thanks for joining me.